And we have breaking news tonight. Boxing legend George Foreman has died. His family sharing the news on Instagram late tonight, saying Foreman was surrounded by family today as he passed away peacefully.
They say their hearts are broken, remembering him as a humanitarian, Olympian, and two-time heavyweight champion of the world. Foreman, of course, was a proud Houstonian who was often seen at events around town.
And we do have team coverage tonight, starting with Jason Bristol, who was just at an event with Foreman a few months ago. Jason.
And that may have been George Foreman's last public appearance. It was a celebration, a recognition of the 50th anniversary of the Rumble in the Jungle, that iconic fight between George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. Now, let's go back to that video from December of last year. George was looking quite frail, actually. Nothing like the 6'3", 220-pound machine during his prime. His family, I remember, trying to make him as comfortable as possible while also maintaining some privacy. Now, here's an official statement from the Harris County Houston Sports Authority, the keepers of the Houston Sports Hall of Fame. George Foreman's passing is a heartbreaking loss for boxing, for Houston, and for all who admired him. A Houston Sports Hall of Famer, an icon of the sport, his impact will be felt forever. A man whose legacy extends far beyond the ring. We are proud that he called Houston home. Our deepest sympathies go out to his family and friends. George Foreman was a punishing fighter, had one of the highest knockout rates in the sport's history. He was 40-0 with 24 straight knockouts, world heavyweight champion in the early 70s before losing that Rumble to Muhammad Ali. Retired, then came back, won another title at the age of 45, the oldest heavyweight champion of the world. George Foreman was an icon of this sport. Back live now here in Wichita, where we are covering the Cougs and the NCAA tournament. George Foreman was best known as Big George. Big George had a big heart, a big smile, and an enormous love for his family. That's the story here in Wichita. Jason Bristol, KHOU 11 News.
Yeah, folks in our community and beyond mourning his death tonight. Jason, thank you for sharing those thoughts.
Now let's turn to Luis Ortiz, who is hearing from a boxer who knew Foreman. Luis?
That's right, guys. The boxing world is mourning the death of George Foreman, and Houstonian Raul Marquez, who is a former world champion himself and also an Olympian, well, is one of them. I spoke with Raul just moments ago via Zoom, and he told me about how Big George was always so kind to him and his kids, always following his kids' boxing careers. Also, Marquez says he could never have done what Foreman did, retire for a decade, and then come back and win another world title.
It's a big loss for not only for the boxing world, but, just for the whole world in general, because George Foreman was international. He was world known, not only did we lose a legend, but he was a role model. That's why he's George Foreman. There's not that many men like that. He's in a separate, he's by himself, because, he came back at age 38 and at age 45. He was able to win the heavyweight title. It was historic.
I personally got to meet Big George once in my early years in this profession, and as you can see in this video, he was always cracking jokes, he was kind, and he was down to earth. George Foreman, he was a legend of boxing, but he's going to be remembered as an icon. May he rest in peace.
Luis, thank you so much. Tributes, as you can imagine, are pouring in for Foreman. Mike Tyson posting on X tonight, saying condolences to George Foreman's family. His contributions to boxing and beyond will never be forgotten. And Mayor John Whitmire sharing his memories tonight of the time back in 1973 when he welcomed Foreman to the state capitol when Whitmire first became a state rep. Whitmire saying Foreman's journey from the streets of Fifth Ward to boxing and business success was an inspiration.
And Governor Greg Abbott posted tonight, quote, "A legend lost, rest in peace, George Foreman." We're going to keep monitoring reaction to this huge loss, and folks are also sharing their condolences and memories on our KHOU 11 Facebook post. To read more about Foreman's legacy and his proud Houston roots, head on over to our Facebook page.